Speaking of saving the neighborhood, what's up with all these missing person flyers?
Yo, check out the courthouse.
They're turning it into apartments?
Y'all know how this starts. Them white people with canvas bags, that's always the first sign.
Hey, what you doing down here, bro?
It's too late to fight back now. We are going to wipe you out like the vermin you are.
We got vampires in the Bronx.
Nobody gonna care that Slim disappeared.
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
I am Brian Brushwood. How you doing? There's nothing different. Hat, red shirt. I'm Brian.
Yeah. Now you may think, hold on, that sounds like Lamarr Wilson. And I heard that Brian tested positive for COVID and is having to stay home and take care of his family. He's perfectly fine, but he's got a lot to deal with. Now, you're Brian Brushwood, right?
Yes, absolutely. These rumors of tests are so unfounded, Tom. So unfounded. How dare they?
Fake news.
Yes, fake news all the way. But you know where it's not fake news, Tom?
Where
you can get the most reliable news ever for tech?
Pray tell.
Get that CNET from a cool guy named Iyaz Akhtar. How you doing?
I'm doing
He is
great.
Our guest. Look at those glasses, man.
Yeah, you know what?
Wore glasses over his glasses.
Very important so I can actually see. It's good to see you, Brian. It's good to see you, Tom. Glad you're doing. Guys are doing well. Very important.
Yeah, man. It's good to have you
I'll stay
back.
healthy.
Yeah, no, seriously, good to see you. It's been years for me.
Yeah, it looks a little like time has changed all of us a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
No, it's always true. But we have got some good stuff to talk about today. A lot of hardware announcements. Good thing we got a CNET guy on the show. Let's start off with our primary target. Wired UK's Alex Lee has an article called "Why Netflix Keeps Canceling Shows After Just 2 Seasons." And man, I think I get it now after reading this article. Altered Carbon, Sense8, The OA, list goes on of examples of shows that seem to have a cult following and then get canceled. Apparently, Ampere Analysis has data that estimates the average Netflix original gets 2 seasons. That's it. Supposedly, Netflix decides to order more seasons of a show based on what they call a viewership versus cost of renewal. In fact, in 2018, Netflix's vice president of original programming, Cindy Holland, told the Television Critics Association, the biggest thing that we look at is, are we getting enough viewership to justify the cost of the series? Now, in the past, we used to assume that Netflix ordered a wide variety of shows because they just needed them to be good enough to keep some of their audience subscribed. But it looks like Netflix wants shows that the large majority of its subscribers watch, not just the dedicated fan base. In fact, because of some testimony in the UK, Netflix told the House of Lords Communication and Digital Select Committee that it considers 3 metrics. One is starters, the number of people that watch just one episode. The second is completes, the number of folks who finish the entire season. It checks those for both the 7-day and 28-day periods. And the third metric is watchers, the total number of people who watched a show at all. Netflix pays more than most television outlets because it wants the whole season at once. It pays for the cost of production plus 30% to keep it exclusive to Netflix. Usually, you pay less than 100% of the production, knowing that the people making the show will get some money off of international rights and syndication. Netflix ties all that stuff up. They also pay bonuses, and here's where it makes sense. They pay bonuses as a series continues, and they bump the pay up as the series continues. And apparently, according to this Wired article, the 3rd season is usually when you see the most significant bump, hence the 2-year lifespan. Because a lot of shows, if they're not looking like they bring in the subscribers and keep them, aren't worth that big pay bump when you get to season 3.
So when you have I was looking, obviously some of this is obvious. People are not watching, why continue it? Duh, we know that. But I like a lot of the nuance explained here. But I was wondering about if casts become popular, like the Stranger Things kids, if as they grow in popularity, do their contracts kind of balloon more? So
Well, that used to be the thing in broadcast television. And I think it still is like when you get to season 6, usually the agents would come in and say, okay, our original agreement is expiring. If you want them back for season 7, you're going to have to give them a lot more money, which is why you would often see one-offs, shows end after 7 seasons, maybe more people leaving at the end of a season 6, etc. But it looks like with Netflix, it's that 3rd season where you get the big bump. Where you and I don't know if those are contracted in from the beginning or not, but that seems to be the practice.
It seems like it's a service contract deal because that's how long service contract can be. It used to be 7 years, at least when I went to school. Maybe it's 6 now. That's why shows would end at 7. I'm sure the actors have a different deal than the producers and everybody else getting these bonuses when it comes to this. But I'm really curious if this will change as the streaming game has gotten so much bigger between HBO Max, Disney Plus, and everybody else that's Amazon. Like everyone's in this game. Netflix had to do something different to get people onto their platform in the first place because way back when we're like, is Netflix like an HBO? And now everyone's like, yeah, of course they're like an HBO. HBO is like Netflix and they're all like the same. I think in the future, either these deals will change so they're on the same playing ground as an HBO, or the HBO people and Peacock and everybody else has to figure out how to get on the same footing as Netflix. Because if it's a sweeter deal, you'll go there.
Yeah. And Netflix spends more money in general than anybody else, no matter what. So it's hard to compete. And so you're going to have to give them these sweetheart deals, I think, if you're going to get them to come to your platform, at least more often.
So I'm a consumer, right? I'm listening to the show. I'm a consumer. I don't know anything about the background to this. I'm addicted to a certain show. Like I'm in that fan base. How do I overcome this idea as a consumer that in streaming a lot more shows would be more dispensable going forward? Like the OA had it wasn't a big show, but had a massive fan base. I'm in this fan base of Lost in Space, which thankfully does have a 3rd season that's gonna tie everything up. Stranger Things have gone, I think, into their 3rd season, I believe. And so, what do I do as a consumer? Do I just accept that this is the new, don't get attached to streaming services, shows, or treat them like movies? They're probably going to be gone. Is that where our future is?
Yeah, I think that the big takeaway here is never fall in love with anything, and keep your heart inside and cold.
Fear commitment.
Make sure you never really enjoy anything too
so
much.
My normal life.
Yeah, so in case something does disappear, you're like, oh, that was expected, and that'll be the way it goes. But then, reading this article, the fact that Netflix, essentially these shows go to Netflix and then nowhere else. If these deals do change and if they figure this stuff out, it could get picked up by another series again, but that requires all the deals to change because the amount of money Netflix is throwing at them, the creators of the show will be like, well, screw it. Why would I do season 3 of this show if I can do a new season 1 somewhere else? Mm-hmm. And continuation of the IP could also be another issue. Like, how's that intellectual property going to transfer over?
Right.
Because a
lot
lot
of
of
that was one day at a time, right? Where
right.
It was Netflix still has the rights to some of the episodes, even though it's on Pop, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you got to figure out your deals on this, because when Netflix started and they were doing the original programming, this was the Wild West. Now this is the normal. So there's going to have to be changes over time.
Well, we also got spoiled too. Like you have like the Expanse is a good example. That was what was on Sci-Fi, right? Mm-hmm. And then got canceled, and big rally, people complained, and now it's it got picked up by Amazon Prime, and now it's flourishing there. I don't know how far it's going to go there, but we got used to that, right? We got used to complaining and send it somewhere else. And I don't think these original series are going to have that. Like this is Netflix's baby. I don't see them wanting to sell it over, because I think you made a good point. The money's it's not enough at that point to justify making a 3rd season when you can make a 1st season elsewhere. That's
the lesson I'm taking from all this stuff is that nothing really changed. We all thought, oh, it's Netflix. They can make shows that don't have to get big ratings because they don't have ratings. They just have subscribers. And I was one of the people who believed oh, well, if the data shows that this is getting a certain demographic that they really want, it won't matter how many people it gets. It's whether it's getting the right people. And apparently that's not true. Instead, we have exactly the same thing we've always had, which is a show has to get a lot of people to watch it for someone to keep paying for it to be made. Most shows aren't worth that. So most shows won't last more than a couple seasons. And occasionally you'll have a Expanse or Sense8 or Star Trek where people write in and try to save it. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But I mean, it's not like it's new that shows have been saved by or not by writing campaigns. It's not that it's new that shows have moved. Buffy the Vampire Slayer moved from one network to another, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, all of this has happened before and all of this has happened again.
Based on the categories of this, like, the 28-day watching period, it's almost like in the old days, we're like, okay, are you counting the DVR numbers? Are you counting the TiVo numbers?
No, Nielsen numbers, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
so I'm wondering if this would cause a change in Netflix at some point with a weekly schedule release of certain things, because if they're like, you're not watching week to week, you're not watching month to month because you've watched everything in that 28-day window, the show is done. If it, I think it's pretty simple. If it grows their subscriber base, they will switch to a non-bingeable for a very high level property. Like let's say Martin Scorsese is going to do a weekly TV show. That, like, I think people are like, yeah, all right, we're going to watch that. People would keep coming back for it. But if you did like a 13 episode dump, I think it'll spike, but you're not going to get season 2, season 3.
Well, but they seem to keep putting out whole seasons at once. So that must still be working for them. And they have examples within Netflix they can pay attention to. Star Trek Discovery or any number of Korean shows come out week to week because Netflix doesn't have them in their home market, right? So they have to put them out week to week because that's how they're coming out.
Discovery? Is that international? That's
Star Trek Discovery is on Netflix outside of the U.S.
Okay, because you threw me. You said that twice and it threw me off, man. I was like,
yeah. So if you're in England, you watch Star Trek Discovery on Netflix, but you don't get it all at once. You have to wait for it to come out on CBS All Access. Yeah.
Okay.
You get it week to week. So Netflix is looking at those numbers and going, okay, we have some of these popular ones that are week to week. Let's compare that. And all we can note is that they keep putting out whole seasons at once. So that must still be the better way to get people on board.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, I just thought that was fascinating because I really assumed that Netflix in that respect was fundamentally different, and it doesn't sound like it is at all.
They are the same.
Well, Brian,
yes, sir.
Really good that you and I can be here every week because of the patrons, right?
The patrons are amazing. I know all of their names. Matter of fact.
Do you really?
Yeah. Wow. But I will say them next week, not this week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll hold you to that though. Next week.
Hold Brian Brushwood to that next week.
Yes, I will. Absolutely.
Say every name.
No, seriously, folks. Honestly, one of the things that's helping Brian get through the hard COVID times is your support on Patreon. So thank you for that. It makes this show loud, live, and independent, and we could not do it without you. You are directly helping someone through a hard time. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Let's talk about how to watch. We got a bunch of hardware. Let's start with the Roku announcement. Roku announced the new Roku Ultra, which supports Dolby Vision HDR, the first standalone Roku device to do so. Also adds the increasingly common AV1 codec, some Bluetooth support, claims 50% greater Wi-Fi range. They still have an Ethernet port for those of you who want that reliability, and the price stays at $100. There's also the Roku Stream Bar, combining 4K HDR with premium sound. Video-wise, it's essentially the same as the Roku Streaming Stick Plus, if you want to make that comparison. Has Amazon and Google Voice support, though, and the speaker. The speaker has 2 forward-facing speakers. That's your center channel for that kind of spoken word sound, and then 2 side-angle speakers that give you a room-filling experience. It's not exactly virtual surround, but it kind of helps. It's compatible, however, if you do want surround sound, with Roku's wireless speakers and subwoofer. If you want to add it to a system like that or add speakers later, the Stream Bar is a bit cheaper than the Smart Bar. You may know Roku's other speaker product, the Smart Bar. The Stream Bar sells for $129. Both of those, the Stream Bar and the new Ultra, are available for pre-order right now, shipping in October. And then they announced some updates to Roku OS, getting some updates including support for Apple AirPlay 2 and HomeKit. So you Roku fans with an iOS device can AirPlay HBO Max to Roku, even if you can't get HBO Max on your Roku. A live TV tile is coming to the home screen of Roku. That's got 115 channels provided free by Roku. The update comes to supported Roku devices throughout this month. You may not have it right now, but eventually by the end of the month, you'll get it. By the end of October, I think, really. And the Roku channel is also getting its own standalone app for Android and iOS. If you're like, I don't need a Roku app to remote control my Roku because I don't have a Roku, but I'm very curious in those 115 channels, well, you can get that on the app.
I have things to say.
All right.
I have things to say about this time. And
you tell me, Brian.
I'll tell you in Brian speak. Okay, so I'm an Apple user, right? I have Apple TVs throughout the house, right? And just full disclosure, I have done ads for Roku in the past. I have an on TV from Walmart, and so in a guest room. So I've played around with Roku, but not fully. That's not my main thing. I looked at each one of these, and I also have that old soundbar that came out a year or two ago. So I looked at all of these, and two things. Number one, unless you are just embedded like I am in the Apple ecosystem, I don't understand why you would pay $199 for an Apple TV when you can get this for $99. And I'm talking about the Roku Ultra. Like, the price point is crazy. Like, I didn't realize it until this story, because I went and looked at, like, oh yeah, the Apple TV. Well, it starts at $179, but like if you get the 64 gig, it's like, man, it is $199. That's pretty high. And the other thing is, what do we need smart TVs for? And, like these boxes seem to be the answer. Like, I've never used my smart TV apps. I know that all of them come with them, right? I don't think there's any TV out there that doesn't come with an app system, but I'm blown away at like all this cool stuff, especially the sound bar. That stream bar is amazing. Like I said, I have the other one, but this one, it has 4K HDR. You have a dumb older TV, that maybe has 4K, but maybe it's 2018 4K, 2019 4K. Like, that's old, right? You can get like all these channels. You get 4K. Like, I'm blown away about how much they're offering with this. Iyaz, what's your opinion on Roku?
It's funny. You're like, what do we need smart TVs for? I'm like, well, what do we need these boxes for? Because every TV's smart already. Like, I have a Roku TV. I don't need another box. I don't need a Roku in a Roku. I thought about doing that once. I'm like, this seems like it's silly. And when it comes to the Apple TV, why do an Apple TV over a Roku? I'm just thinking devil's advocate at this point.
Yeah.
One of the annoying things about Roku is this big freaking ad you get on the right side of the display. Now, Roku's fantastic in that it's got so many different channels. There's private channels. If you like to mess with that kind of stuff, you can set a Plex. You can do pretty much anything you want with it. And Roku in general is a little bit more bare bones when it comes to the style, but it works really well. So why would anybody want an Apple TV? If you're in their ecosystem, if you like that, if you like messing around with, this is so weird to say, like Apple's TV OS adds like, picture functionality. And if you have HomeKit stuff, you can watch like your cameras and things pop up on this. So it's actually more advanced in certain respects. You could game on it because they have all their Apple Arcade on top of it. So there's a lot of positive stuff you could do there. But if you got AirPlay and you have an iOS device, you might as well just send it over. But it's almost like in my case, like I happen to have I do have an Apple TV, a Roku, but the NVIDIA Shield, my Android TV is my favorite. So who would buy either of these? Not me. That's what I'm saying.
You are not the use case for this.
No.
Yeah, I think with the Apple TV, I used to argue that the big advantage of the Roku was you could get everything because Apple TV didn't have Amazon Prime Video for a long time and stuff like that.
Didn't. Right.
And now Roku's the one that didn't have Peacock until last week. It still doesn't have HBO Max unless you AirPlay it. So that's a concern. On the other hand, you've got a more open ecosystem. There's more stuff that can get into it, like you said, with the custom channels. So it becomes more of a classic Android versus iOS. Like, well, if you like the Apple ecosystem or you like the style, some people look at Roku and think it's ugly or it's clunky, then maybe you stay with Apple TV. Or like you said, you're in the Apple ecosystem and you buy all of your stuff from the Apple Store and the iTunes Store and all your movies and podcasts and everything are there, then Apple TV makes sense. But yeah, I mean, the Roku is a perfectly capable advantage. It's just that uncertainty of like, well, who are they going to pick a fight with next and not have the app right away? That's the thing that gives me pause on Roku and Fire TV, honestly, these days. But it is the more ultimately adaptable one, and it's certainly got the price advantage, right? Half the price.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, I would say for Apple for sure. I think the exception would be Amazon, but that's been resolved. Like, you will most likely get everything on because they know all these networks know they need to get on Apple's devices. Yeah. So you have that confidence. At least I feel just having Apple TV for the last several years, and that pretty much everything I want. I can get on that, especially with the Amazon deal
But
last year.
I want to go back to what I had said about the NVIDIA Shield TV, because everyone who has one tells me like that's the one you absolutely should
That's
get.
the one.
You're an idiot if you don't, but that's
Is
the
that
best one.
Android? Is that Android based?
It's Android based, and the app supports almost 100% the same as almost. I'd say like 99. It's almost like you have an Android. Yeah, it's like Android. So like you're not going to get everything.
So all right. So bad thing for my part, real quick. I had because I saw Beatmaster in the chat talk about Sony TVs. I had a Sony OLED with Android TV, and it was a 2018 model. That thing did not last, even with updates, 6 months with the Android TV. I lost so much confidence in it. It slowed down. It got clunky, and I just like I'm never using their apps. I'm just going right into my Apple TV. It was so discouraging because I thought, Android gets a lot more updates. Why is this happening?
That's very fair. Fair
maybe that's
point.
a Sony thing.
No, I'm just saying like the Shield is based on the Tegra 1 by NVIDIA, the same thing that powers the Nintendo Switch. And the Shield has been using Tegra 1 since the very beginning. So they've been keeping this crazy powerful chip in this Android box. So like it's super overpowered. So you can do anything and everything super fast. So like it might just be a television processor thing. I don't know what Sony's got in their televisions.
Yeah, that probably was that.
Yeah, it's probably not got a Tegra, would be my guess.
Probably not.
I think that's probably fair to say. And then smart TVs, I think they're generally for people who don't want to have to think about all this stuff. Like we love to think about, all three of us, right? We love to try this different stuff and play with it.
I love
but
it.
if you're like, man, I want to get Peacock and the Amazon and the Netflix, but I don't want to figure it all out. Smart TVs are pretty appealing there because like, look, you've got all the apps right there, especially if it's a smart TV with Roku OS, because that's a very vibrant ecosystem that people are familiar with. But yeah, I think that's who smart TV operating systems are for these days.
Gotcha.
All right, we got a couple other pieces of hardware here. Amazon's new Fire TV Stick and Fire TV Stick Lite offer HD streaming with HDR support and a redesigned interface, including profiles and a favorites shortcut bar. Fire TV Stick Lite has a little bit of slower processor and a remote that doesn't include volume controls. You have to use voice for that. That's a little weird. The standard TV stick is $40. The Lite is $30. Both shipping September 30th. And Amazon announced a new Echo Show 10. And when they did that, announced that's their smart assistant with the screen. We'll have Netflix. They already had Hulu. Now you got Hulu and Netflix on the little tiny Echo Show 10-inch screen.
That's cute. Yeah. They have a game. They have this cute little game service, right? I know this is not a game show.
Yeah, that's not for the Echo Show or even the
I
Fire
thought it was the way.
I guess it is for the Fire TV. You can use it on the Fire TV.
Well, why isn't it on the Echo Show 10? This is ridiculous. Come on, Amazon.
Yeah.
It should be able to.
Everyone wants to complain about how they can't properly game on a 10-inch screen.
Yeah, when I'm baking and I'm talking to the Echo Show 10 and it's following me around because that's what it can do. I want to be able to play my Luna games
while you're gaming. While you're baking.
Because I'm waiting for the oven to preheat.
You mean in the kitchen? Oh, okay.
In the kitchen, of course, while the oven is preheating, right? Yeah. And as I'm instead of watching the pot with the water boiling because you're not supposed to do that, I could be watching the show 10.
You could be watching a show on Netflix about a person boiling a pot of water.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Now, real quick, do they make products like the Lite purpose? Like, I wonder what they go to all this production and they make these, and they have to know people are not going to buy that, right? Like, why would you not have a remote with the sound on it? Like, what? Like, do they put the lower one so you automatically buy the newer one? Because
I think the idea here is that a lot of people use their TV remote anyway, and you can use your voice to say turn it up, turn it down, and it's $30. So it's like, hey man, if you don't care about the volume button, you save you some money. You probably already have volume anyway.
Okay.
A lot of devices don't have control of volume though.
Yeah.
Really?
If you're like me, like my TV is not smart and it doesn't have CEC, so the volume, maybe you can use it as an IR blaster, but if they don't have an IR blaster on this thing, it won't control the volume in that way. So there are cases where someone may not need or can use a volume button depending on how the Fire Stick handles volume.
Well, I just showed my privilege, didn't I? I think everybody now knows.
But the important part is you acknowledged it.
Yes,
I acknowledge my privilege.
The CEC privilege. Very...
CEC. Hey, last piece of hardware info. A Reddit user called FuzzTub07 shared photos of what looks like the yet unreleased Chromecast with Google TV. Oh, by the way, when we were saying Android TV earlier, that's all going to change. They're going to change the name of Android TV to Google TV. If you're like, wait, didn't they have a Google TV 10 years ago? Yes, they did. And now they're going to bring that name back. Back to FuzzTub07, a video posted showed the Google TV interface, appears to be based on Android 10, supports 4K HDR, multiple counts, Bluetooth headphones. The remote has a YouTube and a Netflix button. How do you know this is real? Because the Redditor bought the device at a Walmart outside Pittsburgh for $50. Said he saw one in stock at a place in Ohio as well. And The Verge was able to buy one from a Home Depot this weekend.
From a what?
A Home Depot.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they sold those things.
Yeah. Chromecast with Google TV isn't announced yet. It's expected to be announced this Wednesday at Google's Pixel event. So
the worst kept secret in the world.
I can't wait to see what joke they make about it when they announce it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we're going to be covering that live at cnet.com, plug right there. Their event on Wednesday. And they have actually said they are coming out with new Chromecast, a new speaker, and the new Pixels. But I mean, this is amazing how their inventory systems are like, oh yeah, you can sell it. You could actually find, I think some site called like Brickstack or something, where you could put in the UPC code and find out if a store near you had the code name Sabrina. They had it in Jersey, but I couldn't get to Jersey, so I couldn't go.
Yeah, the Verge's receipt said Sabrina on the receipt. Yeah. Because they hadn't actually changed the name yet, because it's not supposed to be sold yet.
But the Google TV name and everything else we're talking about, it's like everything old is new again. If you got to be, instead of like it's got to be on the cable station, no, it's got to be on the Roku or the Apple TV or the Android TV. And let's call this thing Google TV. We had a Google TV. Shh, don't say anything. Don't. And Netflix is worried about viewers. It's like it's the same.
Meanwhile, Tom is sitting over there with the Nexus ball. You know,
the Q.
Yeah.
Or is that
I just wanted to make him get up. I just wanted to make him get up. That's all.
I think it's a pre-release.
Oh, you mean this?
Looks like an Echo.
Yeah, the old Nexus. Yeah.
The old Nexus. I just like looking at it. It's so cool.
$349 for a device that made almost, I want to say $349 for like no sense. But I believe the Sabrina device is supposed to be something like $50.
It looked
cool. It was $50 at the Home Depot and the Walmart where it was purchased. I mean, they're not supposed to be on the shelves. Let's not lose sight of that. These are mistakes. They are not supposed to be available for sale yet.
It looks great though for the price that people are talking about. $50 and actual Android TV you have to like import and it's going to get updates. Like it sounds like a really great Chromecast.
It's a Chromecast. It's just the latest Chromecast. They're just changing the name to Google TV.
Yeah. So they get rid
I mean,
of
it's still called Chromecast with Google TV. Yeah. All right. That's a lot of hardware this week. Let's talk about what to watch in Under Surveillance.
I like real estate. It's all about location. Under Surveillance.
A lot of folks on social media are very excited to talk about Utopia on Amazon Prime Video. This is a series from Gillian Flynn. It tells the story of a comic called Dystopia that predicted several pandemics in the world of the TV show. And then the appearance of a comic series called Utopia that promises to predict the future. If this sounds vaguely familiar, it's because, yes, it's a reboot of the Dennis Kelly series that was made for Channel 4 in 2013 and 2014, and which Brian and I talked about on this very show.
I don't remember talking about this with you, but I'll take your word for it.
You remember you got the Blu-ray and then you sent one to me and then we talked about it on. Yeah.
I don't even know where you live, man.
Oh, Lamarr. I mean, Brian. So yeah, I mean, everybody's raving about this. I didn't watch it yet. I think partly because I loved the Channel 4 Utopia so much, I'm scared to.
Is this a drop? That's just on. I'm like to drop the whole season.
Prime Video. Yeah.
Okay. I need is it like what 10 episode type of thing or?
I think it's 8.
8. Okay. Well, that's doable. I have heard about it. I don't know anything about it besides what I just read here that you said. So I will be I'll be checking it out. I'll be adding it to the list.
I don't know. Utopia is not something I'm looking at 2020. Doesn't seem like a thing. So no.
Yeah.
Oh, because of the content.
I think that's why it's so popular. Is everybody's like, like right now, man. Like
I stopped watching a lot of like depressing stuff. I'm like, I can just watch the news. I don't have to watch highly produced. Oh, this is a zombie or that's a pandemic. Oh yeah, right. Forgot.
I get it.
Zack Snyder plans to shoot new footage in October for the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. That's right, new footage for the Snyder Cut. The Hollywood Reporter says the shoots will take about a week and involve Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ray Fisher. No word on Ezra Miller or Jason Momoa. The Snyder Cut arrives as a 4-episode miniseries on HBO Max this coming May.
You know, I just heard I'm going to be in it now since he's going to reshoot it. Like I'm just going to like might as well just have me in there as a cameo. Iyaz, you can be in there too if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta let me know if I gotta shave a mustache. They're gonna CG it. What am I supposed to be doing?
Exactly.
Are they gonna CG back in Superman's mustache so they can CG it back out so it looks consistent?
And then they're gonna release a Zack Snyder deepfake edition where they can show how much cheaper it was to just put in like something on the internet and put it back, and then that'll be it.
Has this ever like seriously? Has this ever happened with the movie? Like ever?
The closest I can think of is when they made The Godfather into a TV miniseries. But even then, I don't think they brought any of the principal actors back for any.
Close to this is also the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2, which included some footage that was screen tests, poorly fitting costumes, but it wasn't like Tom was saying, no new footage was shot for it. Just Richard Donner had a very different thing.
Yeah.
Other than they also like reused some footage of Marlon Brando as the father to allow the newest way for him to speak. So it was a little bit different.
Ooh, Lizard9782 suggests maybe Star Wars. Did they ever shoot new footage for the special editions? But again, not principal actors.
That's just CGI they added, right?
Yeah.
Like George Lucas added.
Most of it was.
Yeah. Just,
they covered up that job.
That counts as
like
shooting?
Bringing back the major stars to reshoot for a recut?
There is one. There was like this green dancer lady, and they brought her back after like 20 to 30 years, and she looked the same. So they just shot it again. So they did, not a principal actor, but they actually did bring somebody from the original cast.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that brought like the names like Affleck, Cavill, Gadot. I mean, that's crazy.
So if they ever reshoot like some missing scenes from Little Shop of Horrors, will the singing lady come back and see, I was gonna make this joke and I forgot the darn actor's name. They came back. They came back for that commercial.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I messed it up.
I thought you were making an Audrey joke. Are they gonna bring back Audrey? They're like, okay, that would be great.
Have you seen her? She still looked like it was amazing. I saw her like a few years ago, like on a YouTube video. But like, she looks amazing. She looks just like the character. It's crazy.
The puppet.
I'm like, you don't age. Yeah,
I've never seen it.
The Black Widow movies have been moved again. Before we have a fight, the Black Widow movies have been moved again to a release date of May 7th, 2021. This film is particularly important in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it kicks off Phase 4. It was originally scheduled for May 1st this year, then was moved to November 6th when theaters all shut down. And now it's moved to May 7th next year. So more than a year after it was originally supposed to appear in theaters. Following on from the Black Widow delay, we also get the Eternals moved to November 5th, 2021. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings now on July 9th, 2021. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is still on for March 25th, 2022. They didn't move that one. And Thor, Love and Thunder still set for February 11th, 2022.
Okay, so I was a little confused about because Black Widow is a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we know what happens to her. So I'm curious to see how that kicks off Phase 4, because I thought Phase 4 was like moving forward to the future.
I've been very curious about that myself.
They must have some twist that happens, Marvel, with that. So, I mean, we can go into an argument here about why they don't release this for digital, blah blah blah. At this point, you have convinced me over several shows to stop talking about it. That they want money and they're going to make money. So,
yeah.
Ditto.
Variety says Amazon is fast-tracking a spin-off series of The Boys. The spin-off will be set in a college for young adult superheroes run by Vote International. Amazon says season 2 of The Boys had the most watched global launch of any Amazon original series.
They can spin this off into a cartoon, into a miniseries, into a children's serial. I will be part of it. Okay, I love this show.
Some of the original creators back from the. I don't want the show to be some kind of like horribly done My Hero Academia. That's not what I want to watch. Right? We already have that show. It's a good show. So if they're gonna do this, a school for superheroes, isn't that also X-Men, Doom Patrol, New Mutants?
But I mean, the seven are the Avengers. So, that's kind of the shtick with the boys.
Justice League, don't.
There's no school in
Or
Justice
Justice League. But yeah.
There's
But
Teen
no,
Titans,
I'm
but
saying the
that's not
shtick is to take an existing trope from existing superhero universes and then put them in the boys universe and play with them.
Gotcha.
I just want to see Billy Butcher having a good time. That should be the other show, the spinoff. It's just him like barbecuing.
The current writer and executive producer of The Boys, Craig Rosenberg, is writing the pilot for this new one. So it's the same team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And creator Eric Kripke will also executive produce. So they're not adding people unfamiliar with the oeuvre. HBO Max has ordered an 8-episode series called Peacemaker, starring John Cena, who plays Peacemaker in the upcoming James Gunn-directed Suicide Squad movie. In fact, Gunn and Suicide Squad producer Peter Safran will serve as executive producers on the series, with John Cena as a co-executive producer.
And you, sir, are going to be canceled by every wrestling star for saying Cena instead of Cena.
Yeah.
How dare you?
But I don't know if anyone's going to be able to see John Cena on the show, which is going to be a problem.
See Cena. Come on now.
Listen, I have an accent. I apologize.
Because from Illinois?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice wrap up there. I get it. Pre-show jokes,
yes.
guys.
Sorry. Peacemaker, starring Peacemaker, is going to be in a show called Peacemaker. How's that?
That was amazing.
I can't wait.
No, I'm looking forward to this. I love John Cena. He's great. Or, however you want to say his name, it doesn't matter. It's a DC show. I want to see it.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? We're seeing a Boys spinoff. We're going to get a Batman spinoff on HBO Max from the Pattinson Batman. We're getting a John Cena vehicle called Peacemaker. Cena, it rhymes with peacemaker.
It does, no matter what people say.
I want to apologize. I will try to do better in the future.
How dare someone try to correct time? I'm sorry.
All right. Let's get on to the notes. Family Guy and Bob's Burgers got 2-season renewals at Fox. I know there's 2 shows, but each show got 2 seasons. So they're going to be on for another 2 years, both of them. Patricia Arquette, Ben Stiller will team up in an Apple series called High Desert. Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teeler, Journey Smollett will star in Spiderhead, a Netflix movie adaptation of a George Saunders short story about 2 convicts who are housed in a facility run by a doctor who experiments on inmates. Netflix will release The Life Ahead, November 13th, Sophia Loren's first movie in a decade. And David Lederman's My Next Guest Needs No Introduction sets a season 3 premiere date of October 21st. The new slate of guests is Kim Kardashian, Robert Downey, Dave Chappelle, and Lizzo.
I think you mispronounced that last one. It's pronounced Cena.
Never correct Tom. I got the point.
I was trying to cover it up like, he gets them all wrong.
That was actually funny. Because when he first did, I'm like, wait, really? Styler? What is he? Okay. I was like, okay, I see what he's doing.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to David Letterman's next round of interviews. They're always good.
I didn't know he had a
back
show.
on the big screen now. That's cool.
I didn't know he had season 1 and 2. I thought he was hired.
He interviewed some big names too.
Wow. Okay.
That's on Netflix. And Sophia Loren coming in. And that's awards fodder, obviously. The Life Ahead with Sophia Loren. But should be good. All right, let's talk about what we've had our eyes on, starting with you, Iyaz, our guest. What have you been looking at?
I've been watching Blue Exorcist on HBO Max. Now, we were looking for some new family anime after watching Demon Slayer on Hulu. Now, these aren't really kid-friendly things, but our kid's pretty cool. So Blue Exorcist is the story of a kid who happens to be the son of Satan, and he kind of wants to kill Satan. So this show's been out for a long time. It's from 2011, I think, and it's on Netflix as well. But I found it on HBO Max. Really enjoying it. It's beautiful looking. It's acted really well. It's all subtitled, so it's really fun. Definitely.
Cool. It sounds fun for the whole family. It does. Son of
I'm
Satan
actually maybe I should go watch
dad.
this. Now I just have to figure out, do I want to watch it on HBO Max or Netflix?
The choice is yours.
The choice is mine. You know what? Apple TV, I have my Apple TV set up to show me the next episode of series that I'm always watching at the top of the banner.
Okay.
And HBO Max does that. Netflix doesn't.
The other thing is, if you have a Roku in the other room, watch it on Netflix. If you don't
right, because then you can pick it up.
It's something silly like that, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Also, is it 4K? Because HBO doesn't do 4K yet. I don't know.
I don't believe
there you go.
It's from 2011. So unless there's some kind of remaster that I just learned of the show, so I can find out.
It's called Blue Exorcist. Lamarr, what about you?
So I just finished last night. Finally, it's been taking me forever. Lost in Space season 2. I felt like I could not move on, watch other shows until I finished this darn. And I don't know what I was holding on for. It was a great season. That they were less lost this season. No major spoilers there. But there will be a season 3, and I'm ready for it now. I'm glad that I finished that. Finally started The Boys. I'm in episode 4. I was watching till like 3:30 in the morning. And then I'll start falling asleep. So I'm in the middle of 4. So don't tell me.
Episode 4 of season 2 or season 1?
Of season 2. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So you're already caught up on season 1.
Oh, yes.
Catching back up on season 2.
I'm catching up. Yeah. By tonight, I'll be fully caught up.
Very cool.
And then I'm going to jump on a Lovecraft train because that's the train I want to be on.
Yeah.
It looks like a cool show. I'm hearing good things about it.
It's fun. It's gory sometimes, quite often.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are you watching, Tom?
Well, I'm glad you asked. One of the things that I watched this past week that I want to talk about was Enola Holmes, the movie starring Millie Bobby Brown as Sherlock Holmes' sister, with Henry Cavill as Sherlock Holmes. It is delightful. It's not super long. It's just one movie. It's not a series. But Millie Bobby Brown's sensational in it. It's fun. It's fast paced. It's a period piece. I thought Henry Cavill, he's not in it as much because it's about Enola, not Sherlock, but he does a great Sherlock Holmes. I'm like, what can't this guy do? Seriously enjoyed it. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. I love watching all the different Sherlock, variations that are out there. And this is a really good one. So I highly recommend it.
Really quick. You said, what else can he do? It was reported today that he strongly wants to do James Bond. He says he can do it.
I mean, seriously, at that point, you got to draw the line and be like, okay, you can't be Superman, Sherlock Holmes, The Witcher, and James Bond. Come on.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. He has 3 big properties under my ready. Wow.
Yeah. Or can he? Maybe he can.
Maybe that's why he's Superman.
Bryce, what should we be on the lookout for?
Hey, I got a pick for the whole family. So lately I had gone back and recently started at the beginning with The Simpsons, which is streaming on Disney Plus. I had first started a few seasons in, like 6 or 7 seasons in, because that's where everyone says, like, that's the good stuff. That's the best stuff of the show. And I loved it. They're great. They're fantastic episodes. But I'd also remember we had a conversation in one of these podcasts about kind of how like the Simpsons has changed over time, kind of like how Parks and Rec did and The Office. And the first few seasons of The Simpsons are really different, even from those like quote unquote good seasons of The Simpsons. So I've gone back and started from the very beginning. It's great. It's a fantastic show already, but you get to watch that kind of metamorphosis in fast forward because you're skipping through weeks and years at a time because you can binge it. But I think, fantastic show. You can't beat it. And it's an interesting, just interesting progression there. So Disney Plus is streaming 30 seasons of The Simpsons. More current seasons are streaming on Hulu. I just got a notification today that season 32 or season 33 is now on Hulu. So I think they're putting the more recent stuff on Hulu and the rest on Disney Plus. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for, email us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Thank you.
Hey, folks, real quickly, if you want to know how reality TV shows work, I got an episode of a podcast for you. It's called Current Geek Chronicles. Current Geek Chronicles dives into all kinds of topics from mana to the history of cables, like USB and stuff. And this week's episode was about reality TV. And we talked to actual reality TV producers, one of whom is my wife, about like, okay, how scripted is it really? And what makes it reality? And how do you make it compelling? Get the ins and outs of that at currentgeek.com. Also, don't forget, Doghouse Systems is powering the show right now. If you don't have a computer and you want one or you want a new one, go check out Doghouse Systems, doghousesystems.com, to thank them for giving us all the equipment that we use to make the show. And in fact, if you go to doghousesystems.com/rogue, you get a free solid state drive add-on. So go check it out. Thank you, Doghouse Systems, for giving us all the great equipment we use on Cordkillers. Let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines.
More watch parties. Sling TV launched Sling Watch Party in beta, letting up to 4 people watch synced content together through a desktop Chrome browser tab. The feature works with live programming and includes a text chat. Watch party hosts control pausing and rewinding. Obviously, everybody has to have Sling TV for that to work, but I haven't been doing a lot of these, but I know a lot of people have.
Yeah, I was wondering why it took so long for the obviously technology, right? But it seemed like a lot of people jumped on the companies jumped on the bandwagon a lot earlier. So I forgot Sling. I forgot they were around. Actually, to be honest with you.
Same thing. Same here. I was like, oh yeah, Sling TV, right?
Sling. Yeah.
Right.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, now you can watch Sling and remember it exists all at the same time with your friends.
So with CBS All Access set to become Paramount Plus next year, Viacom CBS has decided to rename the existing Paramount network to avoid confusion. Well, of course, since the Paramount network mostly shows movies, well, it's going to be called the Paramount Movie Network. That makes sense. It has also canceled several non-scripted titles or moved them to other Viacom networks, or Viacom CBS networks, actually. Now, it's going to air 52 original movies a year. It's one a week. Along with one miniseries or scripted series per quarter. Good thing. I actually thought they were just going to merge Paramount Network into the Paramount Plus, but they must see a need to have them separately, maybe one for cable only.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, good
They
stuff.
canceled Ink Master for this.
Aw.
What were you thinking, Viacom CBS? What were
is
you
Ink-
thinking?
Oh, is that a tattoo show?
The tattoo show, like 14
Oh,
seasons of stuff. Come on.
I think it's pronounced Ink Master.
It
Oh,
is.
my bad.
That's not,
Yeah.
Only way I understand it if you say it wrong.
And finally, Warner Media reached a deal for a 7-year extension on its Major League Baseball broadcast contract. TBS, in general, shows some MLB games during the season and always shows games during the playoffs. This year's no exception. The new deal keeps them doing one of the league's championship series and some other playoffs, and adds a regular Tuesday night TBS game, as well as broadcasts on, quote, additional Warner Media platforms. That means HBO Max. An ad-supported tier of HBO Max is supposed to launch in May with live sports and news, so this makes sense.
Looking forward to that live sports and news. Like they own CNN, right? They own TNT,
right.
TNT. So it's like, yeah, I've been waiting for like this extra tier of something that we can watch live on there. And
Some NBA, some MLB.
So
Yeah.
these sports are not coming to DC Universe?
No, not in
DC
this
Universe
form.
is not coming to DC Universe.
DC
So-
Universe Infinite, excuse me?
Yeah, comics about these sports will be coming to DC Universe.
Well, shoot.
All right, let's get to our dispatch from the front. Got a lot of responses from y'all about what value you see in Peacock, NBC's new streaming video service. Dan said he didn't love Peacock, but enjoyed the 8 live Premier League soccer matches, live sports, there it is, and is looking forward to the Saved by the Bell reboot. Chris and Scott were both fans of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. series Lost Speedways about abandoned racetracks. Belissa was glad to see Peacock on Roku because of its free tier with the single ad break and for access to Downton Abbey. Neil is excited for the Amber Ruffin show that just launched after enjoying her on Seth Meyers. He also liked the new Larry Wilson talk show that premiered last week, as well as AP Bio and a documentary about Harry Belafonte. There you go. Some love for Peacock. Thanks to all your emails at cordkillers@gmail.com. Do y'all have any Peacock, I don't know, love?
I mean, Psych is my one true
Psych.
love on there.
Okay.
I mean, you can't say anything too bad about that show unless you just think it's too goofy. I will tell you one that is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. The New Adventures of He-Man. The cartoon is on. I'm looking at it right now because I didn't know it was on there.
Because you've been
And-
watching it this whole time. I get it.
Yeah, so it came out like a couple years after the 80s show. So I think it was still in the 80s, 89 or something. It is god awful. It is nothing. I don't
Is
even
that
know.
the space one?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
I know of this one.
I can't. I
But
tried.
that's not like a Peacock original. That's an old library
Right.
show. Yeah. Okay.
It's there. So I'm thinking it's an original. No, but Brave New World is. I mean, everybody likes that, right? I think and they based a video game off of that. Not the movie, but the book too. So yeah, I like. It's quirky. I like it.
I have not tried out the Peacock because
It's
I've
free?
really. Yeah, there's enough stuff. Like I'm.
It's even
Yeah,
on Roku.
But it's free.
Yes, and I'm watching like all my stuff on Flex. I'm watching my favorite thing about Plex, like as if like nobody's heard of it.
Torrents, I know.
Well, no, I didn't say that. But my collection of Frasier, I can just hit shuffle, and I can shuffle through a season or seasons. And I'm like, I can watch season 5, episode 22, and then season 1, episode 3, and it's just super fun. I never know what's coming up. It's like programming.
Well, there you go, folks. Thank you, Iyaz Akhtar, for joining us. If you want more of Iyaz, where should we go?
Go to twitter.com/Iyaz, IYAZ. That's usually where I promote all kinds of stuff. Come by to CNET's YouTube channel on Wednesday. We're going to have live coverage of Google's event. Yes, there's pretty much hardware. It seems like we know everything, but we'll do a pre-show. We'll take your questions, and then we'll do the event, and we'll talk about what happened afterwards. So come by on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CNET.
Excellent. And Lamarr Wilson, all kidding aside, man, it was great to have you. Thanks for stepping in. Brian, I know, appreciates it as well. If anybody wants to find more Lamarr, I mean, why wouldn't you? Where would you go?
My, you go to lamarrwilson.com. That's Lamarr with 2 R's, and it has as a link tree, has all my links. I'm primarily known as being a YouTube personality, but I've been branching out to the TikToks and not dancing because that's who does that?
But
right?
never say never.
Yeah. So, but a lot of my short form content is doing crazy well on Reels and TikTok. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, you can check me out. I do pop culture, lifestyle type of stuff, and tech is always embedded in those 2 things. So yeah, you can check me out there. Thank you so much for having me pretend to be someone I'm not, which is what I do on my YouTube channel. No,
you did a great job. Just as much as Brian pretends he's Brian Brushwood. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/Night Attack, also carried on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Talk to you next time.
Hey, Tom Merritt.
Yes, Brian Brushwood.
Know who I love even more than my own children?
Your other children?
No, not my wife. I know what you're saying. I love our $5 patrons. These are the people that keep us loud, live, and independent. Thank you so much, $5 patrons.
You know what? I love them more than not life itself, because then I'd be dead and I couldn't appreciate them, but really, really, really close. And I'm so thankful that they are here to make this show happen.
Thank you so much to all of our $5 a month patrons. You guys are wizards. You're champions.
Thank you, everyone.
You're heroes.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.